Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subscribe to tag, subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 420. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract animates, subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 halfway there, or 3/4 of the way there. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract. Subtract, 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 subtract.